Hi everybody, my name is James Clifford. Thank you for choosing to watch my video. This is my first one and I'm hoping that you'll get a lot out of it. What I'd like to talk about is basically my biggest personal story. It's something that I'm really proud of, and hopefully you'll get a lot out of it. And also, I'm hoping that you can share this with as many people as possible that may need that little bit of inspiration, a bit more belief that there is somebody you out there that has gone through a hell of a lot to get where they've got. Um, so I'm not going to try and keep this too long, but it does go back to when I was like 5 years old to to currently, to the end of coming to the end of 2014. So um, basically, my story is about my learning difficulties that I started when I was at the age of 4. Um, Basically, when I started at school, I had I had a incredible amount of difficulty learning to speak, learning to um, articulate information. Um, I had a lot of psychiatrists, speech therapists, like in sort of about September time in 1985. A psychiatrist told my mother, "Do not expect much from this one." Now that didn't really kept a message. I don't know whether it did keep a message in the sort of my family's brains, um, but even through going through primary school, I enjoyed school. I kept on putting effort in, even though I had these difficulties in reading. And in when I got to like the age of 9, we moved to Warrington, and I went to Oakwood Mount High School. And again, the level of effort, the enthusiasm was there, but again, there was still that huge um, gap in being able to read, being able to work at the level that other fellow pupils were working at. Um, so as soon as I left Oakwood Mount, I was like 10 years old, coming on to 11. I went to Birchwood High School. Again, I was put into a bottom set. Um, Again, this is just cutting it a bit short, but also I don't need to go into the finer details. Obviously, I went to high school between 1991 and 1996. Um, Throughout my years at high school, I enjoyed high school. I put an incredible amount of effort into school. Um, Again, I had additional reading in terms of coaching. Um, when I got to like year 10, I was in like still the bottom sets, um, and again, it, no like sort of underlining problems were sort of like identified, um, and even the teachers and my parents, they did all the best to like support me. There was no negativity. Um, there, again, I had that enthusiasm. I put a lot of hard work into it. I had high attendance at school. I wasn't absent from school, and it's just one of those things that I just kept on trying and trying, and I just couldn't get up those levels. It's like when I was I was getting merits, but um, I was getting like Fs and Gs in my coursework time and time again, and it was just like an expectation. It was like I do a piece of work, and it was either an F or a G, and if I got an F, fantastic. Um, and sort of like I did my GCSEs and my exams and prepared for all of them, and didn't play out as much ones like at teenage age, and obviously I did my GCSEs, and I really did bad. And I've got a one of my certificates here, which obviously there's about 3 of them. I don't know whether you can clearly see this, but this is one of them. So you can see from there, quite poor, obviously Fs. Obviously I got a C in that, but I mean to do the kind of things I'm doing now doesn't really matter. And I'll just show you another example. This is my math. Bear in mind, this is mathematics. Look at that on there. F, yeah. F grade in mathematics. And then, if you look at my other ones, French and science, all Fs. So you're thinking now, right, at the age of 16, yeah, where do we go from here? I couldn't get into college. I couldn't get into do an MVQ level 2 or an MVQ level 3. I couldn't get a job, and I'm feeling the lowest of the low. So what does James do? What can James do that can push himself and get out of this total diabolical position that he's in? What I did is I went and I enrolled at the Warrington Industrial Training Trust, and in that period in 1996, that's where all the thickos, well, sort of like the people, I think thickos is a bit unfair, but sort of the people that weren't the ones that got so much the low GCSEs would go really. So I went to enrolled at the Warrington Industrial Training Trust, and I did an MBQ level 1 in machine engineering. And again, like I did with GCSEs, I worked really hard, showed a lot of enthusiasm, ingenuity, all that lot. Attended, sort of doing everything that was required. So it got to like December 1996 when they come to like finish my MVQ level 1. And she said, right, let's do MVQ level 2. And when it come to that, they said, no chance. James can definitely not do an MVQ level 2. And then my dad was thinking, well, I wonder why they're sort of thinking he can't do MVQ level 2. Well, he didn't do very with GCSEs. He's struggling to understand between inches and millimetres, and he's lacking a bit of this and that, and I suggested he did something else. But I actually did enjoy the MVQ, and I did actually complete it and get the award. So what I did after then, well, what are the options? Right, well, let's have a look. So I went to YMCA training, which is obviously based in Central Warrington, and there I did an MVQ level 1 in office administration. And basically there I did a level 1, I did a few work placements, and then in sort of like summer 97, my dad got me a job at Johnson Controls, and I worked there for like 12 months, earned some decent money, and then sort of decided to like leave there, and then I wanted to get like a proper job. So again, quickly getting up to 1998, about September time, I applied for a job working for some private quantsurveys in Warrington town centre. I got the job there in October 1998, and then he wanted me to enrol on a BTEC National Certificate in Construction. And I was thinking, yikes, do you want 5 ATCs to get on this course? I'm thinking, I've just got a job to train to become a chartered quantity surveyor, and I've got all those GCSEs, and I'm thinking, yikes, I need 5 ATCs. And this is where I come to the bit where I've got a bit of a lot. I've been given an opportunity, but I can't let this opportunity be, be ruined because of my GCSEs. So I go to Warrington College. I see a guy called Malcolm Lee, and I said, look, I started as a trainee QS. Can I enroll on the BTEC? Because there's a fellow colleague who's also doing the HNC. So he said, yeah, we'll get you on board. Just start coming on next week, and we'll see how it goes. So I'm like, wow, okay, yeah, I'm lucky. He's not looked at my GCSEs, but I just attended, so I attended. I tell you what, I was absolutely shitting myself the first day that I started. I remember that day on a Tuesday, and I was absolutely shitting myself to find out whether they wanted to see my GCSEs. And like I say, I did everything that I did previously: enthusiasm, hard work, got all my files all together, all neatly neated up and everything, all organised, with all my stationery, all my pens, all my paper, and all that lot that you do when you go to college. And I was like learning stuff. I was being able to understand a bit of like environmental science because this was a big step up. This was like doing A level work, so it was like engineering, science, mathematics, all different subjects that I'd never even think that I could ever do. And I remember when we come to doing the first assignment, I actually was a borderline pass. And I sat down with a guy called Clyde Robinson, who actually knows a bit of the story that I've gone on. And he said, you've done really well at this assignment, and I'm going to let you have another go. And he said to me, what's your background, James? Sort of like what qualifications and backgrounds did you get to? Because obviously we've not gone through a formal application process, etc. As I said, I just had all Fs and the C and D. And he said, all Fs and C and D? You really think you should be on this course? And I said, well, look, I'm doing an MVQ level 2 now in the Office of Administration. I've got this part-time opportunity to become a chartered QS, and I'm like there, absolutely shitting myself, panic attack sort of like level, sweating and everything. I think it's shit, he's going to kick me off the course. However, he said, look, can you please just give me another shot at this exam? And it was a 3-hour exam. I think it was 2, because it's that sort of year, going back years and years ago. Anyway, this exam was about sort of like uniform or distributed loads and point loads for calculating steel beam sizes. And I swatted up and I passed. And when I passed that, I was like, get in there. So he said, yeah, carry on going. So that was the environmental science module that I did with the first year. And then throughout that year, I kept on doing, and I just had this momentum, and I don't know what the hell has happened to me. I can't explain it. I've not been able to explain it even to this day. I was able to do science, mathematics, calculations unaided, and this was like, it's just so hard to explain how I was actually doing this. And in the summer of '99, I actually passed the first year. I think I got 2 merits and 3 passes, because for each BTEC year you get like there's 10 modules you got to do, and then you do 5 each year. So the first year I passed, and then I thought, great, they've still not checked my GCSEs. So I'm thinking, right, what's going on here? Sort of like, I'm passing exams unaided, I'm doing assignments unaided. Right, let's test my limits. Let's see where I can go with this. In summer of 2000, on my second year, I was going